This is Alex from Deadly Apples, and you're listening to the Deliciously Brutal podcast.
One, two, three, four. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Hello. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm well, thank you. Give me 1 second here. Make sure. Did you get the recording button up there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
All right, we are all set, I believe. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Pretty busy.
Where?
How about you?
Yeah, where are you? I'm well, thank you. Where are you at in the world?
I'm in the countryside near Montreal, Canada.
Oh, nice. Is it still cold up that way?
Yeah, but spring is starting, so it's not too bad. Where are you at?
I am in Richmond, Virginia,
Oh, cool.
and today is really nice. I don't know what the Celsius would be, but it's in the mid 70s.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Well, we can just jump in with Deadly Apples then if you want. For those not familiar, like myself, I was not familiar. Can you give us like the 2 sentence elevator boardroom pitch? Who Deadly Apples is?
Well, we're a rock metal band from Montreal, Canada, and yeah, that's an interesting question. Just sending a pitch like that, I'd have to think of something better to say, actually.
Yeah, no worries at all. So let's just jump in then. How did the collaboration Deadly Apples with Richard Patrick of Filter and Danny Lohner come about? And how do you think it shaped the sound of the track? Volatile.
Well, basically, we spent nearly a year in LA recording the new album, which is called Distress, and Volatile is the first single from that album. And I had met Danny Lohner through my old friend Fat Mike of NoFX, and I had kept in touch. And when it was time to record the album, just asked Danny if he was into playing the guitar and bass parts, and he decided to do it, which we're very grateful for. And while we were working in the studio recording with Danny, um, I guess I was messaging with Richard on Instagram because he was following Deadly Apples. And since I guess he was into what we do, and he also knows Danny, and we were working with Ben Gross, who mixed the album, and he actually mixed and produced the first three Filter albums. So Richard was basically like, I'd love to do something with you guys. So he just came to the studio one day, tried vocals on a few songs, and it worked really well for the harmony vocals on Volatile. So that's how it came about. And as far as shaping the music, like the song was actually already written. My bandmate Antoine, he writes all the music and I write all the lyrics. So, basically Danny played the parts that were already written, and Richard sang my lyrics essentially.
And you guys had some amazing talent behind the glass too. I mean, you mentioned Ben Gross, but Michael Beinhorn, he's legendary.
Yeah, we actually did some pre-production work with him, and we did it remotely because we it was basically during the pandemic that we were at that step, and he sent us like 10 pages of notes on a few songs. He's like a very detailed person, um, which is very interesting and overwhelming at the same time, but
Right. Was it
essential.
intimidating?
Um, I wouldn't say intimidating, but we definitely questioned ourselves. I
Right.
think, in a nutshell, what he was saying was that it felt like we were restraining ourselves, and he basically pushed us to just, go full on, and that's when Antoine came up with much heavier songs
Right.
and more aggressive songs, and that's ultimately, I guess, the main direction of the album, even though some of the songs are more um accessible, and more pop oriented in a sense.
Okay. When you guys were, you said you've been sitting on these songs since the pandemic.
Well, we were working on songs, since that point, and initially there was a first batch of songs that were a bit different, and that's when Michael came in and basically realigned us in a sense. So we ended up not keeping most of that first
Oh,
batch of
really?
songs, and yeah, so that's when Antoine started
Right.
writing more of the heavier
The reason
songs.
I the reason I asked that is sort of, I mean, art imitates life, right? So stuff that was written in the pandemic may be a whole lot darker than stuff you would write here in 2025. Or maybe, I guess maybe not, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, regardless of the pandemic, we were both, going through difficult times in our lives, and it definitely is reflected in those songs, in my lyrics and in
Is it
his
cathartic
music.
as well?
Yeah, for sure. But for me, the most cathartic part is, during our live shows, like going on stage. Um, because, nothing against that, but I guess most bands, they go up on stage, play their instruments, get off stage, and that's it. Like, to me, before I go on stage and while I am on stage, it's like I just go to this whole different place in my head. It's really, it feels like an exorcism of sorts, and I'm really feeling it. And I guess that's part of what makes our shows very intense and unique and unpredictable.
Right.
Um, but yeah, for me, definitely on stage is you know when it really happens.
So when you're writing those songs then, especially for like distress, are you writing those songs for how it is going to come across on stage and how you're going to for a feeling, or are you writing the songs for the song's sake and then kind of translating it into the live?
For the song's sake, and then figuring out how we're gonna pull off doing it live is like a problem for later. you know.
Right.
But yeah, when we're in the studio, the idea is just to have the best song possible, and if it needs 20 layers of vocals or guitars or whatever it is, then that's what we're doing, and then we'll figure out later how to do it live.
Right. What is a live set? I've not seen you guys, but I've heard there's tons of energy. What is the give and take between the crowd is pretty amazing then, right? The energy.
Yeah, like I feel like in general, rock music has become very safe and bland and boring in the past several years. And when we go on stage, and it's not even like necessarily planned, but it's, I guess how I described earlier, to me, it's like therapy in a sense. And the experience that it creates is, you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. And that's something that we've been told by a lot of people who have seen us live, whether it's fans or other bands or industry people. We often get told that we're essentially bringing back the danger to the stage, which has been missing. And that's also something we noticed because we've been fortunate enough to open for several uh, great, huge bands, like Rob Zombie, Korn, Deftones, Marilyn Manson, etc. And I feel like a lot of people that go to these shows, they usually don't give a fuck about the opening acts, like they're
Mm.
just on their phones or talking with their friends or whatever. But I see it in the crowd every time, like just people's jaws dropping, like,
Right.
holy shit, what the fuck is happening here? And that's a comment that we get a lot from people, that we weren't expecting anything from a support band, and we were kind of blown away. Um so yeah, obviously we're very appreciative, when we get that sort of feedback.
Right. So with music this intense and emotional or whatever, do you find that, or I mean, is there a message you want your fans to take away from after listening to Distress?
um I like to think that each person can make up their own meaning. um I feel like that's more interesting than me laying out, oh, this song is about this very specific thing that happened to me, or I guess the lyrics in general are, a mix of personal experiences or just thoughts, and at the same time, you know, with the backdrop of the current social climate, with like extremes on both sides. Um, but yeah, like if people are able to have their own interpretation and meaning to whatever they're going through, whatever's happening in their own lives, then I think that's the best thing. But obviously, it's very, very dark and heavy for the most part.
And I mean, you mentioned like more danger and pushing the limits. So do you ever find you've put too much of yourself into that and you've reached the point, hey, maybe I shouldn't have crossed that line and let everybody know this, or do you not even care and push?
I mean, there's definitely been injuries during our shows, um, and never it's never on purpose, but it just
Oh, no, no, no,
happened.
no.
And the
I think you got me mixed up. I'm talking about like when you're in your lyrics and in your do you
Oh, okay.
think if you get more, you ever find yourself too vulnerable? You put too much of yourself in it?
Um, I mean,
Or is that the
uh,
point of it?
yeah, I guess I wouldn't write it if I wasn't feeling comfortable with it. But there's definitely some songs, especially on, you know, the new album, that are really, really dark and personal. And it does feel vulnerable, but at the same time, I think that's what makes it real and authentic.
Fair enough. Are you planning on taking Deadly Apples on the road here this summer or in the coming months?
Yeah, well, we're in a week and a half. We're playing this massive festival in Peru, called Vivo XL Rock, and
Nice.
we're uh, we're actually on the main stage right before Anthrax, Marilyn Manson, and Avenged Sevenfold. So that's
Wow.
going to be really awesome because the crowds in South America are
That's what I've
insane.
heard. I've never
Um,
been, but I talk to people who say they're nuts.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like last time we went to Peru, uh, it was like in a huge stadium with Slipknot, and our flights landed at like 3 a.m. and 100 people were waiting for us at the airport with like
Really?
pictures of us and stuff, like, um, which doesn't happen when we're in Montreal, but it happens
Right.
when we go to South America or other countries like that. And as far as US dates, we're actually playing Welcome to Rockville in Daytona Beach, Florida,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
in May. And we're working on a few dates around that. I think only one has been announced so far, which is a date with Filter in Birmingham, Alabama. And more dates will be announced soon. But yeah, there's you know talks happening for tours, but uh, nothing that we can announce yet or that's finalized. But it's definitely our plan to do more shows, more touring this year and next year.
Perfect. And if fans want to find you guys, how can they do so?
Deadly Apples everywhere, and yeah. Basically, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but the new album Distress is coming out this summer. I don't have the exact date yet, but in the meantime, we'll be releasing new songs and new music videos every 5 to 6 weeks.
Right.
And I'm not sure when this is going to be released, but we're just about to release the second track from the album called Envious and Little. And yeah, we're just looking forward to people hearing what we've been working on for quite a while.
Right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. That's the end of my questions. Did I miss something you wanted to cover?
There's nothing that comes to mind, as I mentioned, we hope to be back soon in the US to do
It's a
more
little tenuous
shows.
right now, though, right?
What's that?
Is traveling a little tenuous now?
Well, I mean, since the pandemic, costs went way up, that's the reality facing
Right.
a lot of bands, but it is what it is, and we make it happen.
Fair enough. Now, my friend. Hope you have a good day. Thank you for everything and taking the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
All right. You're welcome.
appreciate.
Cheers.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.